one-liner. It provides that licensees who sell liquor by the drink may not knowingly sell to intoxicated persons.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let's go ahead and listen in. Governor McMaster in Columbia, South Carolina.
This is another big day for South Carolina. As you know, the last time we were assembled here was back in March 5th. And many of us, everyone who spoke at that time said that there were a lot of disagreements, there are a lot of things that needed to be done with joint and several liability, especially as relates to alcohol. But we were confident we could get it done. We had to get it done because business, and ours is a business state, South Carolina's business is business, requires certainty. And it also requires fairness and justice. It requires that one person is not blamed for what somebody else did, but it requires people that have caused pain, suffering, damage, or loss must be held accountable. Anyone who had a point of view on any of those points related in the law on responsibility and joint and several liability had their point of view heard during the debates that went on in this building, in the House and the Senate. There's not a single point that wasn't thoroughly debated. And I think we all believe that what we have produced in those debates is a big step forward. It's good. Can it be made better? Yes. Will all of these provisions work as intended? We hope so. We believe they will. But we can always improve. The laws, as you know, they're not static. As situations change, as the economy changes, the laws sometimes must change to address those things. But this document, this new law is a major step forward for business and for the people of South Carolina. So you'll notice as you read it, the common sense solutions, you'll notice where the determination is to be sure that South Carolina's laws are correct and they produce a safe, competitive environment for people to live, work, and raise a family. So there's several of us who will speak to you today, and we'll start with the Speaker of the House, Merle Smith.
Thank you, Governor. I appreciate you introducing me. And this is a momentous day for South Carolina, and it's an honor for me to be standing here. And I think all of you who watched this debate understand that this was a contentious debate. But when it mattered, we put all our issues aside and attacks and got the job done for the betterment of South Carolina. And I want to give credit to Governor McMaster, because Governor McMaster took up the mantle and has preached to us in the General Assembly that we have to work together in order to make South Carolina great. In order to do that, he's used what he calls the 3 C's, and I got to write them down because I can never remember them, but it's communication, collaboration, and cooperation. And I can tell you firsthand that the General Assembly have worked tirelessly on this issue, and we could not have been able to get this to the finish line without the continued collaboration. And I want to thank Governor McMaster for his leadership in calling upon us to make sure that we got the job done. And the one thing that sticks in my mind when you were here in March, Governor, is that you said we need a bill that protects South Carolina businesses, but also protects victims who rightfully are injured and should receive compensation. And I think we accomplished that there. I'm proud to lead the House over these past 2 years of trying to find common sense solutions to this issue, especially for our bars and restaurants, because they are the ones who paid the heavy price over the years of having to have the inequities that we are solving here today. So I believe today is going to be a great day for us, not only for us citizens of South Carolina, but for businesses and for those who use the court system. And I'm proud to be a part of this today. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce the President of the Senate, Senator Alexander.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Governor, it's a pleasure to be with you and the Lieutenant Governor. Thank you all for your leadership and involvement. And it is a good day for us here in South Carolina to be celebrating and recognizing the work that went into getting this tort reform to where it is today. and it is about the businesses of South Carolina and making sure that the victims are protected. But it's been a long time getting here, not just this year, but over several years of trying to get us to this point. And it's important that we've put forth the effort. And, you know, it's one of those things, especially for the restaurants, small businesses, as a small business owner myself, and the restaurants and the bars and the other businesses, it's important for us to have not only that climate of a business-friendly climate, but make sure our actions also address that. And at no time should it be that government or the actions of government is putting businesses out of business. So today is about protecting businesses to make sure that they can be successful. But as was mentioned earlier by the speaker, it's not necessarily, it has not been an easy road. And I will tell you that in the Senate, I appreciate my colleagues getting us a product. But from outside, there were some very deep, personal, and I would call vicious attacks on some of our members in the Senate. Folks, that's not South Carolina, and it's certainly not South Carolina at its best. And those that were attacked rose above that and put the interest of South Carolina and the betterment of this state, and I commend them for that. And I want to personally express my appreciation to the senator from Edgefield, Senator Massie, our majority leader, who has been tireless and dedicated to tort reform. And again, while this is a step, I know it's not the end of the journey, but Mr. Leader, I personally want to express my appreciation to you for your leadership on this issue, knowing the time, the dedication, the commitment that he made to make sure that we had a product this year. Thank you, Mr. Leader. And also to Senator from York, Senator Johnson, the subcommittee chair, that, again, tireless efforts, I can vouch for the hours that were put in this year on this bill. You did a masterful job of helping to direct this bill through the state Senate for us to have a product. And I want to personally thank you for your efforts. We would not be here today without either one of those, and my colleagues that are back here behind us as well. And then also, again, it gets to what the speaker had mentioned earlier, teamwork. And Mr. Governor, Team South Carolina, could we say that? By us working together, Chairman Newton, Chairman Jordan, and others, so we can move South Carolina forward to the best of our ability by ensuring that we have that climate here in South Carolina that's better for South Carolina. Again, it's not a perfect bill. We got work to do, but we can celebrate today to make sure that we move South Carolina and our businesses forward. It is the right direction, in the right direction for fairness in South Carolina. And I'm proud, as the President of the Senate, not only to lead the Senate and my colleagues are behind us, but for us to have the opportunity to be here and recognized today. At this time, it's my great honor and privilege to bring to the podium, again, an individual that I spoke of just a minute ago, who I really appreciate not only his work on this efforts, but so many different things. The majority leader for the Senate of South Carolina, the senator from Edgefield, Senator Shane Massie. Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, everybody. You know, progress on important policy matters is often frustratingly slow and incremental, and so it is with this. Today is a recognition of a step in the right direction. but it is a small step. It is a small step toward a fairer civil justice system. It is a small step toward where other states in the Southeast, our competitors, have already gone. It is a small step to addressing a problem that has caused South Carolinians to pay much more because of liability insurance costs being higher across the board. It's a small step, but it's a step in the right direction. And we have to acknowledge that even that small step would not have happened but for many of the people who are here today. And I thank them for that. I agree with the speaker and the president. There were a number of people involved in this effort. It would not have happened without that. The governor's support was instrumental. And if it had not been for him being willing to come out and take the steps and to be in front of everybody on this issue, it wouldn't have happened. But it is a small step. And my hope is that this small step is not the only step. That we use this small step to generate momentum for meaningful change that will then allow us to celebrate something that really matters. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Leader, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, Speaker, President. It's an honor to get to be here with you all today. You know, this bill ceremony represents the fulfillment of an overdue promise, a commitment to address the skyrocketing insurance costs that were crippling and, quite frankly, put out of business a number of our small businesses in South Carolina. At Easter, I did not think that we would be here today because of the different approaches that had been taken by the House and the Senate in addressing this issue and the broader topic that Senator Massie mentioned. And I appreciate the hard work of the Judiciary Committee and Chairman Jordan, who's Vice Chairman of our Judiciary Committee, because quite frankly, between Easter and the time that we got the bill amended on the House floor and passed, Mr. Jordan and I were on the phone with Mr. Johnson and Mr. Massie virtually every day, if not multiple times a day, making sure that we were fulfilling the commitment that we made when the House passed the liquor liability bill unanimously at early March, that we were not going to let our bars and restaurants and hospitality venues suffer in South Carolina any longer. I'm proud of this effort that we have. I'm proud of the bill signing ceremony today. I think not only will this address the skyrocketing insurance issues for those folks that are in such desperate need of help, but it also brings fairness to our judicial system as it relates to joint and several liability, specifically with regard to liquor, but it also promotes public safety in that now all of our bars and restaurants will be required to have the server training that we were unsuccessful in getting past a few years ago. So it's a privilege for me to stand before you here today. There is obviously more to be done, and there will be more to be done. But for today, I think this is an absolutely great step forward. Appreciate everybody's involvement and the leadership of the Speaker and the Judiciary Committee. Again, it's been suggested that there was no debate at the end of the language that ended up in the bill, and quite the contrary. The Judiciary Committee held a couple of long sessions in the 2 days prior to us leaving to go over this language, albeit identified with a different legislation. And with that, again, thanks for being here. Appreciate the effort of all involved. And it's my pleasure to introduce Senator Johnson.
Good morning. 2 to 3 years ago, our bars and restaurants, hospitality industry, started telling us they were under attack. They were under attack by insurance rates out of control. And that was a direct result of there just weren't carriers willing to write insurance in South Carolina anymore. It had gotten out of control, and the problem was going to drive this entire industry into the ground. This bill is a step forward in fixing that problem. This is good for South Carolina. This is good for our hospitality industry. You know, Ronald Reagan, and I'm going to paraphrase it, once said, give me 80% of what I want, I'll come back and get the 20% later. Well, I think that's what you're seeing here today. We've gotten 80% of what we want, but we are going to need to come back for the other 20%. And that is going to be important to South Carolina. I would be remiss if I stepped off of this podium without thanking the Majority Leader, the President, the Speaker, Chairman Newton, and the Chairman of Judiciary, Senator Rankin, for allowing me to serve as a subcommittee chair. Lastly, Governor, I want to ask you, folks, this is a huge bill. This does a lot of things. This is going to take, hopefully by strengthening our law, we're going to take bars and restaurants are going to serve alcohol more responsibly. We have a duty, though, to take drunk drivers off the road. This legislature must act to strengthen our DUI laws. This alone will not fix our problem. We lead the country in DUI deaths. We have to get the drunks off the roads. That will make the insurance for our bars and restaurants and our hospitality industry get better. And I would hope that that is going to be something that we address day one when we come back in January.